NHS England is in the news at the moment because it was announced by Keir Starmer in his speech yesterday that the organisation is going to be abolished. Thousands of jobs are going to be lost. There's a huge amount of uncertainty about what's going to happen next. And it looks like ministers are doing this in part to seize more control over the NHS. So let me just catch you up on what's been happening recently. About 6 weeks ago, there were lots of articles in the papers criticising NHS leaders for what was perceived to be their failings. It was kind of made out that they weren't being productive enough, that they didn't have enough drive or ambition for the NHS, and you got the sense that they were kind of in the bad books with ministers. That's certainly what I was thinking when I was reading those articles. And soon afterwards, Amanda Pritchard, who is the chief exec of NHS England, resigned. And since then, lots of other NHS leaders resigned as well. And when that happened, a lot of people were wondering what was going to happen next. Initially, it looked like about half of the jobs at NHS England were going to be lost. And then yesterday, it was a shock to a lot of people when it was announced that actually all of the jobs were going to be lost. And that some people, I think, will probably be hired again to work within the Department of Health and Social Care, but it's very uncertain at the moment and there's a lot of upset about it. The reason people are worried about this is because NHS England performs a lot of really important roles for the NHS. They maintain and monitor a lot of services, they provide a lot of support, they run a lot of really important projects, and right now it's not clear how any of those are going to be done. A lot of the staff understandably feel very upset and confused about their own roles and what's going to happen to the projects that they run, and I'm a bit worried about the way this is getting reported on by some of the media outlets. There's this general concern, and has been for years, that the NHS is staffed by too many managers and it costs too much money and it creates a lot of inefficiency. But what doesn't always get spoken about is that inefficiency and bureaucracy also gets created when politicians create new reforms and new plans that make them look really good. The other issue with ministers taking on more control of the NHS is that politicians obviously have a political agenda, they want to make themselves look good and they want to win votes at the next election. And that can often lead to them making decisions on behalf of public services like the NHS that don't think about the long term. And we need to think about the long term with the NHS because it's people's health is at stake, right? We need to have enough NHS hospitals that are going to be decent for the next few decades. We need a public health plan to prevent ill health as well as treating people who are sick. So a lot of people are worried, and we'll keep you up to date about what is happening as the news emerges.